I don't know what your eyesight's like. You're a bit older than me.
No, I've got 20/20 vision. My eyes are really, really good. I feel like I'm going to put this down here because you're going to make me laugh. I just feel like a laugh is
Why?
coming.
I haven't said any.
Because everyone laughs at me when I say this, but my vision is 20/20. I've got great vision, but my eyes are very sensitive.
In what? I'm not.
So sensitive to light. For a start, not this light.
Yeah. I was going to say, just try to turn off the torch.
No, like, they're really sensitive to light and they're really sensitive to like water. So I can't swim without goggles.
Yeah.
You know, some people can swim underwater and open their eyes. Like, I can't do that.
But some people are psychotic though. They'll do that under seawater, which is
That's what I mean.
Work. Like chlorine, I can do occasionally. Like it depends on how much chlorine's in there. Like sometimes you go under and it's just fucking.
I don't understand how the water doesn't like rush into your eyes.
Well, it kind of does, but. I don't know, you just come out and you've got red eyes and you just take it, you know?
Nah, I've just put on goggles. I've put on goggles.
Yeah, do you know what?
So I'll be like pool parties in Dubai and there's teams looking at me, I was looking at them like, yeah, what's going on?
Oh, yeah.
Snap on my goggles, bro.
No, but I feel like I swim a lot better with goggles though. I feel like without
you
it...
fucking see stuff.
Yeah, I know, but without it, I feel like my swimming ability is like that of a child who's just starting to learn to swim. Like I'm all over the place. Like I'm fucking front crawling like diagonal across the pool. But as soon as I have goggles, I'm straight like an arrow.
But you just bump into some random woman underwater. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, but that wasn't an accident. That's what I'm fucking under the guise of the goggles, do you know what I mean?
Casual sexual assault. Casual. It's still
Speaking of which, no, I'm joking.
It's still going to come out in court. Speaking of swimming, genuine segue. Are there any sports that you prefer watching the women's version to the men's version? Because I think we're going to talk about this
Netball.
Men and women. we're going to talk about this USA women's money situation, but for me, men's football and women's football are basically different sports. And when I'm watching men's sports and women's sports, I'm not some of them I enjoy the same. So like men's tennis and women's tennis are vastly different, but I enjoy them the same. I like tennis as a sport to watch. Swimming, I would say, swimming's kind of the same as a spectator sport. It's kind of the same. But some sports like men's football and women's football to me are totally different sports. Gymnastics, I probably prefer watching the women's gymnastics to the men's gymnastics, and that's not just for some weird sexual perverted
because they're wearing tight
outfits.
Yeah.
But the big muscular power stuff is really interesting to watch. But I can, as somebody who's reasonably muscular and powerful myself, I can kind of relate to that. It's the stuff that some of the women do, and they're super flexible and that I can't even get my brain around how they do that. So I enjoy watching it, but they are super different. They're at the same domain, and it's all gymnastics, but they are vastly different sports.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I think they look more elegant.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like when they do, I don't know what the sport is. I was about to say
gymnastics.
Yeah, but I was just about to say like any sort of Olympic sport, or not any, but like a lot of the Olympic sports is probably where I either prefer watching the women's or it's about as equally as enjoyable as the men's.
Yeah.
Like for swimming, for me, I don't really give a shit. I don't really care if it's Michael Phelps or whatever. Like I don't really watch swimming. Like that's the same as cycling for me. I just find it boring. But like the gymnastics, when they're kind of like cartwheeling and doing flips across the
the rhythmic gymnastics.
Yeah,
is crazy,
or synchronized swimming. I think women like they look like when they're doing that, it looks really impressive, and really like enjoyable to watch. But in terms of like football or like rugby and stuff like that, I'll be honest, I don't watch any women's versions of those sports. Like
does Man United have a women's team?
Yeah, they do. Ella Toon, who scored in the Women's World Cup, she pays for it, man.
Of course. Do you not watch Man United women?
No, not really. But mainly...
You're not a Man United fan, really, I guess.
Well...
Don't support the club.
Yeah, it depends. If we're winning, then I'm the fan of them, glory hunter. No, I don't watch... I think because the women's games are normally on MUTV, and I'm not paying for MUTV. Okay. And I'm not really going to go out my way and listen to them on the radio or whatever. Like, it's just... Okay. I'm not as invested in that team, I'll be honest. Yeah. Like... I've heard they're decent and they probably perform better than the men's team, especially for the last couple of years. Yeah. But I don't know, I'm not interested in it. Every time I've watched women's football, when I have watched it, apart from the World Cup, because the World Cup I actually saw some decent games, especially the final. But like any other women's football that I've watched, it's just like I see some of the goals that go in, and I'm like, really?
So I'm just playing devil's advocate because I had this conversation with my ex, and I said the same stuff, and she was just livid. So she went on YouTube and she found all the like silly, wonky moments of men's football.
Yeah.
And she was like, you guys have these moments as well. She was kicking off. So obviously she's like strong feminist, and anytime we said anything about women, she'd just kick off.
Yeah.
But we do have some of those howlers.
We do, yeah.
In Joanne's, if you don't
there
watch
was
enough,
really one the other day.
if you don't watch enough of the women's game and you just watch the crazy bad highlights, then you could do the same for the men's game, right?
Yeah, but I feel like it's more free. Like I feel like I could put on a game of women's football.
Yeah.
And I will see. Like I feel like with the men's football, without just being biased, I feel like those moments do happen. Like she's right.
Yeah.
But like those highlight reels she's finding, like I feel like that's the same with men. You know when you try and like gas up a player and you try and like find his montages, his highlight reels. You can make El Neni look like a fucking.
El Neni's a baller, man.
Yeah.
90% pass completion.
You hate him.
I don't hate him.
Yeah.
I don't hate
Your tone's changed on him. Yeah, El Neni.
El Neni.
Yeah.
He's my guy for a minute.
Yeah. No, I don't know about that.
And even my guy for a minute. He just shouldn't start, but
Yeah.
no, he's a good player. He's a good player.
Or play for Arsenal.
No, he's a good player.
But I'm just saying, like, with montages, you can make a player look like you could probably find montages of Maguire playing well, but I can make a montage of him playing shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, but with women's football, I feel like every time if I watch a full 90-minute game, I'll see something ridiculous, like a shot that's just rolling across the floor and it somehow beats the keeper.
Yeah.
Like, and it shouldn't. And
I will say the goalkeeping is sometimes really horrendous. Like it just looks like match fixing. Honestly, it's crazy.
That's my point. Like, it just doesn't feel competitive because at any point they could have this, like, if there's a genuine moment of brilliance in the men's game, it'll be most of the time likely because he's absolutely like a shot was way too powerful or like it's placed perfectly. Whereas in the women's game, I think there's a bit more lenience in terms of like the shot could be awful, but it will still be the keeper.
I think
exciting.
I think that obviously the money thing is a big deal, and in a moment feminists fighting for the right to make the same money as men and different things like I understand that, but I think for the long-term success of women's football they have to focus more on growing the sport.
Yeah.
Because I've done some number searches earlier, my phone's recording so I don't have my phone in my hand, but I'm pretty sure I looked at it, they said like 250 to 300 million people, men, play football to some level. For women, that's across the world. For women, there's about 15 to 20 million. So there's 1/10 of the number of people playing the sport. So the level of talent you're going to get, if we take the top 10% of talent of the women's game and the top 10% of talent of the men's game is going to be better because there are just way more people playing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's just statistics. And then on top of that, there are more men's academies and much more men's infrastructure, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's more Sunday league teams and structured pyramids and all that type of stuff. Do you know what I mean? For me, I enjoy women's football at the top end. I love Arsenal. I love Leah Williamson especially. Everyone knows I just love Leah Williamson. And too. She's got a girlfriend as well. I just don't care. I just love her. She's a wavy player as well. But like, yeah, the top level of women's football is good. But for me, like, I'm not even being cocky, being gassed. I think I'm a pretty decent player myself.
Leah Williamson.
No, definitely not. And when I see some of the stuff that happens, it's the physical side of the game, the power side of the game. When I watch men's football, I enjoy watching stuff and going, I could never do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like the Ronaldo bicycle kicks, and obviously they're like extreme moments, but some of the stuff that these guys do, I look at that and go, I couldn't do that. And when I watch football and think, I could do that, it takes away the magic for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Why do you think there's that, like, there's less of those moments in the women's game, like the physical battles, pushing people off?
I'd have to talk to a woman. I have no idea. To be fair, women's football is quite physical in terms of 50-50 challenges. Maybe more than the men's game, actually. They're quite brutish in terms of that side of the game. But I mean, in terms of, I don't know, because women's legs are very, very strong and very powerful. But I don't see that many.
All their fucking legs are tongue.
But I don't see that many you look at like the speed of certain goals, right? So we see certain free kicks go in like 25-30 miles an hour and stuff like that. I don't see that many like proper bangers, and they're good at like kind of finesse shotting and stuff. I just don't see a lot of like the bigger, more powerful. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I have no idea. But I don't want to talk about like genetics. I'm not a woman. I've never been a woman. Do you know what I mean? I have to talk to women about that.
Yeah, it's interesting because the top side of the game, even the goal in the World Cup that I think Ella Toone scored, she chipped the keeper. Like that's like technically that's hard. Exactly. But like I just don't see it enough in the women's game. And I don't know if it's like advertised as well. Like you just know that, you know, Man United are playing Arsenal on a Sunday because it's Sky Sports, like, you know, Super Sunday. Whereas like, I don't see that with the women's football as much. I don't think it's advertising. I think they're trying to take steps towards it.
That's part of the problem with the youth of the sport, because the youth of the sport, if the Arsenal and Man United women play, we don't know, the general public don't know the history of that game.
Yeah.
Whereas when Arsenal and United's men's teams play, even when they're both not outside the top four, we know the historical context behind that. They're going to advertise the Van Nistelrooy, you know, missed penalty, or they're going to advertise, you know, you guys beat the Ronaldo free kick against Arsenal, or whatever. They're going to advertise these moments. Don't worry,
you're missing the Ronaldo Shishi in the crowd.
You know what I mean? But I'm saying they're going to advertise these moments as build up to our game, because that's the historical context of the game, and the women's game at the moment is lacking a lot of that. We're building that history now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so how much do you see the two? Because with the US team, men's and women's, what they've done is they've basically put the two teams together. So all the money that the men and the women make split evenly, but obviously the men's game pays more, so it works out a bit of a pay increase for the women. But that's basically what they've done. How much do you? Obviously, I watch Arsenal men and women. You watch Man United men, but not Man United women.
Yeah.
So how much do you mean, like, could they make that same broadcast media package for promotion? Could they use that same promotion for the women's game, or is it totally different?
What do you mean that broadcast package?
What I said about the Ronaldo shushing, the Van Nistelrooy penalty, Arsene Wenger versus getting head-to-head, getting sent off and stuff. Would that run as a promotional package for the women's game? Because it's still Man United versus Arsenal, but is it?
No, I think they would need more, because like I don't know of the players from the past in the women's game.
I'm saying before that, would you look at that and go, that's a totally different sport?
I don't think I would, but I think I would need to buy into the like with Man United and Arsenal. I'm just invested in the characters. Like, you knew about the Roy Keanes, you knew about, like, I just knew about the rivalry there. I knew about the battles in the tunnel and stuff like that. And I feel like if they did something like a Drive to Survive, because nobody really cared about F1 until that came about. If they did something like that for women's football,
not nobody, but yeah.
Well, but like,
I know what you mean.
Nobody,
it grew the popularity.
It definitely grew the popularity of the sport, and like last year was probably the biggest turnout they had. They were broadcasting on 2 channels for the final in.
Well, like an All or Nothing, maybe.
Or an All or Nothing, or something where you get to see behind the scenes. You get to see, like, you get to get a bit of an eye for the personality of the players, and
because it does seem like only major tournaments we hear about women's football. Generally, like, when I say, again, I follow Arsenal. I'm not gonna say I follow women's football at large, but I follow Arsenal, follow our results, and our women's team. I think us, Chelsea, and City are probably the 3 best women's teams in England. So we frequently, while Arsenal were not, but while the men's team were not winning trophies, I had the women's team to rely on because we weren't winning anything.
They were banging.
So, but yeah, I think you're right. Like, outside of that, you do, like I said, I think building that history is going to be really, really key and getting you to understand the players, know their journeys, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah, I need something to buy into. Like, I think that's what's good about them bringing in more like women commentators. Like, Alex Scott does a lot of like commentary. It is Alex Scott, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, she got her book come out. She was an Arsenal player, wasn't she?
Of course, yeah.
And then Laura Woods does a lot of. Laura Woods. Everybody knows about Laura Woods. She does some commentary, and like they're speaking. They've got a bit more of a voice.